What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast. And are we having a new Bretton Woods 2.0 type of meetings taking place this week? Today, actually, in fact? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let me start with this video and look at what Peter Thiel has to say. His comments are very intriguing, and what a time to be talking about this.
From China's point of view, they want to get, they don't like the U.S. having this reserve currency because it gives us, a lot of leverage over, Iranian oil supply chains and all sorts of things like that. They don't want the renminbi to become a reserve currency because then you have to open your capital account and you have to do all sorts of things that they really don't want to do. I think the euro you could think of as, was in part a Chinese weapon against the dollar. It didn't, the last decade it hasn't quite worked out that way, but that was, China would have liked to see two reserve currencies like the euro. And, even though I'm sort of a pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin maximalist person, I do wonder whether at this point Bitcoin is also should also be thought in part of as a Chinese financial weapon against the U.S., where it threatens fiat money, but it especially threatens the U.S. Dollar, and China wants to do things to weaken it. So it's sort of China is long Bitcoin, and perhaps from a geopolitical perspective, the U.S. should be a little bit be asking some tougher questions about exactly how that works. But some internal stable coin in China, that's not a real cryptocurrency. That's just that's just some sort of totalitarian measuring device. From China.
Interesting. And so I'll let you have your thoughts on that. Now, this leads me to this next point because he mentioned that, but we're seeing that Christine Lagarde posted this, and then I'll transition to Janet Yellen. But she said we had an important and productive discussion at today's G20 meeting. Multilateral cooperation and policy support are key for ensuring that our economies emerge from the pandemic at the same speed and no one is left behind. And so, what do you think? See, it begs the question. There's a lot of things happening in terms of this digital asset space. And she's saying multilateral cooperation and policy support are key. And so she's saying in order for our economies to, get past this black swan event and absolutely no one is left behind, we need to cooperate. We all need to come together on how to, get out of this rut. And you think one of the things that Ripple has been talking about is banking the unbanked, getting people helping cross-border payments. And so this vision is unfolding right before our eyes. Everyone is to participate in this new digital world we're entering in. They don't want to get left behind. Now, that could be a good thing for sure, but it could also be something very cynical in which they want ultimate control on every single person. So that's why they don't want anyone left out. And so take it as you will, but yeah, this is very interesting. Now, we see here that a Bretton Woods committee, Fiscal Policy, Technology, and Transparency, is taking place today from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And so we know, and it's interesting because this is an IMF website. And look at this. This looks like nodes on a network, doesn't it? Interesting. Now, we know that the Bretton Woods Committee that took place in 1944 set the standard for the new world order after World War II. And John Maynard Keynes was a key influencer in what happened. The IMF and I believe the World Bank were instituted after the fact, and he had a vision of creating a a coin or a digital coin or currency that was called Bancor, and it would serve as the world's currency. Obviously, at the time, they didn't have the technology, and the means to accomplish this, and a lot of people were opposed to it. So what happened was that they used the digital dollar as that world reserve currency. And little by little, they went off the gold standard until Nixon officially took us off the gold standard in 71. And from then, it has been just nothing backing the dollar. It's been just mere confidence that people have in it, in that piece of paper. That's literally all it is. And so now, hence, we have Janet Yellen. And look what she has to say. As I prepare to meet with my colleagues from around the world this week at the IMF and World Bank spring meetings, I find myself thinking back to the policymakers who gathered in Bretton Woods a year before I was born to define our post war order. There was different time. I empathize with the enormous weight they faced. Our current juncture is no less significant. What we do in the coming months will have profound impacts on the trajectory of the global economic order and lead us to the next century of prosperity. She said, what we do in the coming months. So you best believe that this year is a very key year of what's going to determine the world and its new world order going forward. So brace yourself for impact because it's gonna be it could be a rocky road. So you gotta know what you hold and make sure you're positioned correctly. But we're entering into a new digital world in which digital assets will be key to running all these protocols that people use in their everyday. So utility, utility, utility. It really does matter. And here is Klaus telling you himself that everything that can be digitalized will be digitalized.
Social contract, green economy, but number three, and that's a major part also of the book, because I published 4 years ago the book The Fourth Industrial Revolution. All those technologies are very much advanced now by COVID. Everything will be digitalized, which can be digitalized.
And there it is. He said it. And I'll say this again. By the US presenting a prototype of a digital dollar in the third quarter of this year, it means big things are coming. And I don't think this is any coincidence. So it's happening really fast, and people who are delaying it or putting it off are really missing the point here and are being naive to the idea that this is coming a lot faster than we expect. Hope this episode has brought you some value. Like and subscribe. And is Bretton Woods 2.0 really taking place? Yes, it is, and it's going to set the new world order in place. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.